when you look back, like boundaries, I didn't even know what they were.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had zero, and I do laugh at this. I was a terrible people pleaser, you know, and actually there's a funny story. I went as a part of the requirement for the course, you had to go and do therapy, your own personal therapy. And I was like, right, okay. I was like, what am I going to talk about? Like, how am I going to fill these hours?
Welcome to the Thickness Podcast. Okay, guys, just before we start the show today, I want to give a slight warning on the topics discussed in this episode. They are not suitable for little ears. So this is your heads up. Just to stop now, before I describe what happens or what is discussed further in this podcast. So I'll give you a couple of seconds there. There is some themes discussed between me and Hayley to do with suicidal ideation, and depression. So if you feel that you can't listen or watch to do with those themes, I completely understand. And this is, your heads up that there is discussion to do with those themes. So thank you. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Thickness Podcast. Tonight we have our first in-house guest, Miss Hayley Doherty.
Thanks for having me.
More than welcome. I'll let Hayley give herself an introduction here because she'll do it better than I will.
Thank you very much. So, well, as Niall says, my name's Hayley Doherty. I'm 30 years old and I am a newly qualified integrative psychotherapist. So I recently qualified just last year, actually, and I'm currently a pre-accred, and I'm with the IACP, which is the Irish organisation body for supporting therapists, and I am currently doing my pre-accred hours, but spent 2 years training in Sligo, doing a cert, and then skipped on into Dublin to do my bachelor's, and have now, just finished. So big journey, a long time. Yeah.
I suppose I'll let everybody know I know you on a personal level. We train Jiu Jitsu together, which is fantastic, and it leads nicely into this conversation about mental health and all that kind of stuff. I was trying to think earlier how long I know you. It must be 8 years now at this stage, if not more.
Yeah, easily.
Has to be that. And I suppose going into your introduction, my friendship with you and, all that there, the work that you've put in over the last few years on top of your day-to-day life. I mean, you have a young family, beautiful Sophia, who we all adore. She's such a great wee girl, and you've got your beautiful fiance, James.
Oh, he'll be delighted now. He's like, yeah, because David.
So you've got your family, you've got Dip and Sip and Bundoran, suppliers of fantastic coffee and baked treats, stuff like that. So what you have done to achieve it, is a massive thing. I know there's a lot of hours involved in that course. There's a lot of travel. You're doing part-time on top of your job and your training and jiu-jitsu and, family life and day-to-day stuff. So, that's what I mean on a personal level. It was so nice to see you finish up and achieve your goals and what you had, worked so hard to do. So, I was really proud of you. And it was really nice of you to come down and do this today as the first guest. So we will get into it and our questions. And I suppose, one of the main reasons that I did ask you down was that there is such a focus on mental health at the moment. There's such a depth and a dearth of, there's suicide out there, there's depression. And I think people now are it's slowly opening up to people talking about it and being more open about it, and especially men being more open. I mean, I've had my struggles with depression and anxiety over the years and my mental health, and it was very much closed for a lot of years until I started going and seeing a therapist after I had a handling. And it wasn't really until that point that, you know, you understand what therapy is about. Everybody can tell you, but until you actually are in that room with somebody and you open up, you can be in that room and you can be very closed.
Yeah, 100%.
But until you embrace the thing, until you open up and you start talking openly and honestly, you really don't get the benefits of it. So
there is definitely less of a stigma, which is huge, and more of a social, even on social media, like there's that huge, people are speaking out and stuff about it. And even you now, like you will help so many people being so open about it, like, you know, so that takes great courage as well. So
yeah, look at, I suppose there's so many people in the social media world speaking about it at the moment. Like you have the likes of Neil Breslin, who's had his podcast. I think he's finished that actually. After he's qualified, like he's done so much work. You know, there's so many people out there that are doing really, really hard work in social media because it has the trappings of the other side of it.
yeah,
You know, and it is so needed to have the other aspect of it, that you have people on social media talking about how good it is and what you need to do and what you need to do to look after yourself mentally. Because we do look after ourselves. The majority of us look after ourselves physically. We know what to do. We need to exercise. We need to eat right. We need to cut back on X, Y, and Z. But for people in their mental health, a lot of people don't know or understand what they need to do.
Especially younger people now as well, because that's where their heads are, is stuck in phones.
Just swiping and swiping. And there is, like, I mean, I'm guilty of it.
Well, same.
And I think everybody is, whether they admit it or not. You know, all you have to do is look at your screen time at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Especially on the iPhones, they tell you on a Monday morning.
Oh, God.
Is it really that much? Okay, so look at, when you think about it in simple terms, how would you describe the difference between being mentally strong and emotionally resilient?
Yeah, so to me, mentally strong is, you know, being able to manage like your emotions, your behaviors and your feelings. And if something knocks your day off track, and to be fit to still put a positive spin on it. So like, I'd be a firm believer in everything happens for a reason, you know, so having that, I'm still being fit to move forward in that, staying focused, keeping going. Whereas being emotionally resilient is like sitting with them feelings, with them tough feelings, sitting in the experience, being able to, you know, I suppose adapt and keep going as well. So recover, like, so you've survived it, so being fit to adapt and to recover from what's happened. So
like the old adage of sitting in the feeling, not blocking it out or not going busy in yourself to block off that feeling, like sitting and figuring out what it is, what you're feeling and why it's there,
acknowledging it, like where it came from, you know, definitely. And that's so tough, like, and even sometimes you're like, oh, I just can't be dealing with this now, but to actually just sit in with it, just take the 2 minutes, you know, to acknowledge it, so it doesn't start festering and deepening down.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's another skill that you just have to constantly work on as well, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And so, I mean, on that, do you think resilience is something that you're born with?
Oh, I think from a very young age that we learn and develop, you know, resilience. So say like when you're a toddler, you fall, you learn how to get back up. When you're a teenager, you know, you come with social challenges, academic challenges. When you're an adult, you've got like your mortgage, your loans, all them life challenges that come. So it's definitely something that is developed upon, and what you learn and develop. And I don't think there's like an end line. I feel like it's something that's constantly being developed. Every challenge you overcome, everything you recover from that's happened in your life, every day you decide to keep going is building resilience. So I do.
It is, and again, keep going back to these old adages or cliches, but they're there for a reason.
I think so, yeah.
You know, they really are. Like, it's from experience. You know, you get knocked down, you get back up. Yeah. As long as you can keep getting back up.
Yeah, and I suppose like everyone's is different. Like everyone's resilience is different. Like, you know, but the people around you shapes it, your life experience shapes it, but it's constantly can be changed. It can constantly be adapted to be better, or it can go back the way, you know, but it's noticing that and building on it as well.
Mm-hmm. And that's like, resilience is where I took the name for the podcast.
Oh, no way.
Thickness. You know, it is.
It's not like you.
No.
You're not thick.
But that's it. Like, you know, I mean, yeah, okay, it's you know, it's out there, the thickness and whatever, but
absolutely.
it is resilience, you know. Okay, so what first drew you to becoming a therapist?
So I feel naturally people open up to me.
Okay.
Definitely have had people, you know, throughout my life, you know, would come to me with problems, you know, and dilemmas, and was always there to help somebody, you know. And then I suppose you see firsthand friends, family members who struggle with their mental health. So being able to have an understanding of that, and what I thought I knew nothing, you know, realistically. So being fit to help that, and just the want to be fit to help people in a different capacity, yeah.
So, like, since you've been in your training, has anything changed? You know, has your mindset changed? Tough days, stuff like that there, do you find now you're able to handle them a bit better since your training, or?
100%. Yeah. Like, disclaimer, I still have bad days. You know, I think that's normal.
Absolutely.
But obviously, like, I'm like a different person since I started my training. Like, you know, when you look back, like, boundaries, I didn't even know what they were. You know, I had zero, and I do laugh at this. I was a terrible people pleaser, you know, and actually there's a funny story. I went, as a part of the requirement for the course, you had to go and do therapy, your own personal therapy. And I was like, right, okay. Found my therapist, was going to her, and I was like, what am I going to talk about? Like, how am I going to fill these hours? I have nothing.
So had you not done therapy?
I had never done therapy before.
Okay.
No, never done therapy. So found her, went to her, and I was like, I'm not going to have anything to talk about. I still haven't shut up. And I was like, what to tell you? Mean this isn't normal? I was like, you know, these behaviors aren't normal. So again, it's what you grow up with. It's what it's your normal, and that's okay, you know. But I think when you start to realize how it can be affecting you, like, in a negative way, even if you don't even know it, but when light is shown on all them, like, it's huge. I worked a lot on, like, what I could and what I couldn't control. That was a huge thing for me. So yeah, it definitely changed. Like, a lot of my personal relationships changed, like, you know, with friends, with family. So, and all for the better, for a better me, you know. Yeah.
Well, it has to be.
Yeah, and there was good learning in it, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's gas that, you know, you never were in therapy before you decided to go this road.
I know,
isn't it funny?
yeah.
And it is, like, we said this earlier, but when you're in that room and, as you say, when the light's shone on, you're going in there and you're going, what am I going to talk about? I go into therapy, I'm like, what am I talking about today? Because, like, there's bags of stuff that have been unpacked in my sessions. It's just, as when you start shining light on things, and things that you think didn't actually mean anything or weren't particularly important, and when it's spoke about and the threads are starting to be pulled at, it's like, oh God, right.
See, when the dots start to join and there's this little light bulb and you're like, shit. Like, do you know, it's huge. Do you know, when the pin drops and you're like, oh my God, it's not me. It's not me. It's okay. It's all this generational stuff.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of generational stuff, isn't there? Yeah, but that is the beauty of therapy.
No, it is. And, like, you know, as people come when they've had, you know, childhood issues, current issues, you know, and as great it is to go through and deal with all them, like, you don't have to go to therapy. Like, in crisis. You know, you might think you've dealt with something that happened years ago and it could just be there and niggling and causing issues that you don't even realise.
Yeah, it's maintenance.
Maintenance, yeah,
maintenance.
Absolutely. You know, and you don't have to be in active therapy for years. You know, you can go now and then, and
Exactly.
it's good offload.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. So from like what you've seen so far in all your training and you know being out there now, what actually helps people get back on their feet after you know something really, really difficult?
Yeah, so I suppose like when people come into therapy, it's realizing it's not a quick fix. You know, that the road is long, it's windy, it's up and down, and that because your road's like this, another person's isn't. You know, it's kind of learning a lot of self-compassion. So I think that's huge. One thing that definitely has helped, connection. I think having one person, whether it be your therapist or just one good person you can talk to, it definitely can help offload. And I think a lot of people, you know, they come and they think you're going to fix them, you know, in therapy. And I thought that I want to go in, I want you to tell me what to do and I want you to help me. It's not like that. I wish it was like that. I wish it was so easy.
Be handy, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I'd be making a fortune.
Exactly.
But it's very much like it's you're doing the work, it's your time. But the power of having somebody who's not in your situation or in your life as like a neutral, I suppose, being fit to talk to them about what's going on, it can be so powerful.
Yeah.
So powerful. And then people just getting back out, like integrating into wellness, whether it be something they enjoy, colouring, anything mindfulness, you know, a bit of psychoeducation has helped a lot of people when they start to understand themselves, you know, and how the brain works, the nervous system, all that is definitely something that helps.
Yeah.
Sleep.
Sleep's great when it happens. Do you think that a person needs to go through really difficult, hard times to form growth?
Yeah, this is a tough question. So if I was to like reframe like the word struggle or a tough time for like change, like if people need to go through like a challenge for growth, I think that there's this framework and it's like the Goldilocks framework. So it's like, you know, she does the too hot, too cold, just right, or all that. So if you are in the too little stage, like if there's no challenge in your life, you know, so you're comfortable, you just going along with things, nothing changes, you become bored, you know, and that can affect your mental health. Then you've got the too much where you go into your panic, you shut down, you become overwhelmed, and then you give up or you quit or you feel worse. And then you've got the just right. So then it's like small, safe changes, small steps that feel manageable and that are safe, that feel uncomfortable but are doable. And then that can shift, you know, you're going to grow in that stage. You grow, you know, so it's like growth happens when you're comfortably uncomfortable. So yeah, and it's unfortunate people have to struggle and go through hard times maybe to come out the other side. So kind of maybe reframing it that like it's just a challenge and can help that mindset.
Absolutely, yeah. That's it's a really interesting way to look at it, you know, as you say, reframing it, renaming it. Yeah, nice. If someone that's listening or watching to this is feeling really overwhelmed, what's one small thing they can do right now to steady themselves and get that feeling sort of removed?
A huge one that I find really good, so you've got this inner critic and or even just these thoughts, you know, is challenge them, you know, so show you the evidence, like where does this come from, like, you know, show me, for example, like you did nothing right, you know, show me 3 things I did do right today, like I made the bed, I brushed my teeth, I showed up to work on time. So small things like that can be huge. In the moment, if you're trying to steady yourself, you know, I suppose there's one where it's like I I struggle is counting back in sevens from 100.
Okay.
So even try doing that. It's all about interrupting
The thought process.
the thought process. Yeah, you know, I suppose like even last, like that inner critic thing, like last night I was like getting ready to come on today and I was like, all these thoughts, all these, you know, imposter syndrome, like what am I doing? So I had to sit back and I had to do a bit of self-talk and I had to be like, no, it's okay. You know, you're going to get through it. You know, it'll be fine.
And that inner voice, or for me, it's inner voices.
Yeah.
And like I have a constant battle with my inner voice. Constant battle for every aspect of my life. And I've always had it. And it's only, I was talking to you actually about this before I got my diagnosis, that when I went and I got my ADHD diagnosis, and I was talking to the psychologist first, and then, you know, they assess you, and then you go on to the psychiatrist. And I was talking about these voices, you know, and going, this is normal. This is, everybody has these. And she just looked back through the camera at me as if to say, no, that's not normal. Says, maybe you might have a bit of self-criticism every now and then, but constantly. And it's funny, you know, it is me with the ADHD, and I've realised it since this, but whenever I get locked into something, I have to get so much, I have to get all the information about it that I can. I'm on YouTube, I'm reading books, I'm listening to podcasts. So of course I dove into ADHD podcasts and reading after that there. And it was one of them things about that inner voice and that critic, and that it is constant and it's more prevalent with ADHD. And I was like, I've struggled with that all my life. You know, you're going, no more than you were saying there about the imposter syndrome and that there. It's constant with me. And it is, then you have to realise that, and you have to sit back with it, and you have to go, well, you know, you're not, you're fine.
Yeah.
You know, there is a reason you're doing this, or X, Y, and Z. No more than this podcast. I was like, I had been thinking about doing a podcast for a number of years. And then I was like, oh, who wants to listen to me? Yeah. Or what do I have to tell people? Or, you know, will anybody listen? What if only one person listens to it? Oh, Jesus. You know, there is so much involved in all of that, and it is so hard. And I mean, like when you're looking at that, when that negative voice creeps in and you are doubting everything, how do you recommend people to challenge that?
Yeah.
I know you've said the three things. I have that in my gratitude journal.
Yeah.
You know, it's your three things.
You're writing down your three things.
Again, to hark back to the ADHD, I fill that out maybe once a month.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, God.
Yeah. So do you mean like grounding techniques?
Yeah.
So breath work is huge. And it's like, it's those things, like there's so many resources, but like say you wake up and you're just feeling shit. Like, so you've got your breathing, which is box breathing. Again, YouTube has so many things you can follow. You've got your gratitude thing, your one name, even before your feet, like, you know, touch the bed, or even if you want to ground your feet on the floor, you can do the 1 to 3 things. You don't even have to write them down. You can just say them out loud, because that's your brain that's interrupting all them. All the process. And yeah, so like, and they don't have to be big. Like in the morning you could be like, I'm grateful for my pillow, I'm grateful for my socks, you know, like, and it's just getting into that swing of it, and like repeating it and keeping doing it will shift the mindset, you know. The self-talk, naming it, takes the power out of it. You know, if you say it out loud, like, you know, I'm feeling crap, or why am I feeling crap? And it's just, even if you're talking out loud, I'd be often talking out loud to myself in the house. And cold water, like, you know, people, you know, like to put either a cold face cloth or a cold glass of water and just hold it up to your cheeks or the back of your neck. So what it's doing is interrupting, you know, the intrusive thoughts or anything like that. And it's like activating the vagus nerve and calming the system. So
yeah. It's and I like that grounding one, because I have with my anxiety, I have that nervous tick, and my legs can be going like the clappers, like the absolute clappers. And it was actually, I think it was Blind Boy's podcast that I heard this one on, where he sort of the same thing, but he does this ground technique of sitting and just working his way up. So he goes feeling his feet on the ground and then coming up to his knees and going, oh, right, okay, there's my knees, there's my thighs, and working back up. And again, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's interrupting that
The
negative thought process,
yeah.
and you're pulling yourself back into it.
Yeah, and like another one is like kind of like, what would you say to your best friend? Do you know, like, what would you tell them? Do you know, because you're what's wrong with you? No, we're joking. But like, you know, if they were having a shit time, like, you know, genuinely what you would say to them. And it's just about being gentle and going easy with yourself, and
it is, isn't it?
Just trying not to be too hard on yourself. Like, you know, it's easier said than done.
It is, and it is very much the being gentle and kind to yourself. And it is very difficult for people to understand that and to do that if you haven't practiced it, or if you have had nothing but negativity and negative thoughts for a long time. It's very hard to be kind. You know, easy on yourself.
And for people to slow down, I think is, you know, that's where it comes from. Like, people are so busy nowadays, so it's kind of, without doing that, slowing down, like, you're not able to stop and give yourself that time, be gentle. You're constantly, I need to keep going, you know, so.
And I'm guilty.
Oh, so am I, 100%. Yeah. I'm trying to do 3 jobs at one time. And I get overwhelmed. I'm like, what's going on?
And it's funny, like, that harps back to the ADHD. It was Garth Vaughan. I may cut that one out, Garth. It was Garth that said it to me early last year, like January time, I think. He's like, oh, you're so ADHD. And I was like, no, and still, and I say this most times, ADHD, if I thought of ADHD, it was that hyperactive child that was running around the place going, my brother is ADHD. That was ADHD to me.
Yeah.
And Garrett said, and I was like, what do you mean? And he says, no, he says, like, you're always doing something. He says, you're never not doing something. There's always something. And that was the time then that I went, I goes, do you know what? I'll we talk to my doctor. And they were like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Says, I can't diagnose you for it, but you're hitting all the markers.
Yeah.
I got my letter in February. And then in typical ADHD fashion, it was November of this year that I went and got my diagnosis. So it's funny, like, that is where...
Yeah, it's that, like, not wanting to, like, if you slow down, it's them thoughts and the mind's going to slow, and then you're going to have to face it, like, as well, isn't it? Like, it's...
Massively, and that's a huge part of my therapy as well, is, you know, it is the slowing down, and it is stopping, and as I said earlier, sitting in those feelings and that there. And that's exactly, like, I know myself. That's exactly why I keep myself busy, is because there was so much in my history and in my background that I didn't want to face, that I didn't want to think about, that I thought I had dealt with. And that was a big one for me. I thought I had dealt with it. Yeah. You know, I thought, I'm grand. Big, strong night. 100%. And then all of a sudden it comes crashing at some stage when you haven't dealt with it as well, you know.
Yeah, it all comes at once.
It does, doesn't it?
You feel everything super, like, heightened 100 times and don't know where to go.
Slowing down is a huge thing.
Even if you, like, it's even hard to say, like, but if you just actually mindfully stop for 5 minutes once a day, like, how often does anyone actually do that? You know, not scrolling, not cleaning, not doing anything. Like, you know, it's
just sitting for 5 minutes doing nothing. It's difficult.
And it's hard.
It's so difficult.
5 minutes is a long time.
I remember I started meditation last year as well. Again, it's an on-off thing with me, the meditation, because it is that. It's, you know, I think I started with, was it Dermot Whelan's one? And it was like 90 seconds. And he says, you will come in and out, and your mind will drift and you will lose. He said, just pull it back. And I really struggled. Like, I was like, 90 seconds. Do this for 90 seconds. I get into 30 seconds, I was like, it was so difficult. Yeah. It is so difficult. But it is, as you say, it is worth just doing nothing for, if you're starting a minute or 2 minutes even.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But just to stop and just to slow down. Like, it is so good for the head. Okay. So we'll go back to social media. Do you think social media is making it harder for people to be resilient? You know, are people scrolling now and looking at social media and going, the grass is greener over there, or look at what they have, or look at that beautiful guy or girl. Why am I like that?
It's definitely a double-edged sword. Like, you know, there is the downfall where like you're watching somebody's 2-minute reel and their life looks like it's rainbows and it's so good and everything's so aesthetically pleasing, the house is clean, and that's not reality. Like, you know, and it's, I think, coming to terms with that, and it's they're all the same. And do you ever like watch one reel and then they're all the same and you're like, what the hell? But I think it's realizing people don't show the bad. No. Like very little, like
very few people.
Few people now are honest, you know, and opening up slowly. But you've got all the negativity where people are hiding behind comments, like, and you're watching young girls' videos and there's people saying nasty comments, like, and that's not, like, that's affecting them, you know. 100%. So it's huge, like, that's not great. And then it makes it easier to be like exposed to your stressors, you know, like when you're, I don't know, if I talk about anything and then it's coming up, you know, on your phone, or you're like interact with one and then it can be overwhelming, highly overwhelming. Yeah. So that would be my downfall with it. But then also the other thing is there can be a sense of community. You know, there's a huge, like, a sense of belonging. Like, you have your online community for people who might be really isolated, who might struggle with like going out, interacting with people. So that might be their only way of communicating, or communicating with family that's further away. So I suppose around social media, I'd be asking myself when I'm using it, is it helping or is it draining me? Do you know, in certain, like, obviously, like, we all scroll, we all just dump and go through all it all. And like, again, guilty, only post the good things, do you know? So I suppose that'd be one way of kind of...
It's hard when you look at social media, and no more than you say, like, I mean, look at, it's part and parcel of life.
It's the way it's going.
In this day and age, it's part and parcel of it. It's having, I suppose, the will and the want to not be on it the whole time. But it is addictive. You know, and like, I mean, there was a case, I didn't read up on it. I just seen a video, a short video, that I didn't fully watch. So I'm completely informed on this, of course. But I seen something about Zuckerberg and Meta and that there, and, you know, they're getting done in the States for it being addictive to children. And I mean, there's the push. Australia have done it, you know, no social media for under 16. There's talk of it coming in here in the UK. There's talk of it coming in the States. Look, at the mind's not developed. And I mean, I know at 44, I'm so guilty of sitting and going boom, 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 boom. And as you said, like, you like one video on a certain subject, and then you like another one on the same subject, and then all of a sudden your feed is nothing but that. And that can be good, bad, and different. You know, and I've seen it with a family member where, you know, it was real dark stuff that they were liking for a couple of days, and then they said, like, that was all their feed was coming up. All the reels were all real negative stuff, and they found it really difficult to come out of that there. Now, I think Instagram have done something that you can change what you see in your algorithm.
Not interested, or
But he said, like, it took a week or two of him liking certain videos to flip it, so they wasn't seeing that negative stuff.
You know, I would even use it myself sometimes as an escape. Like, it's one of those things where you're just switching off, not thinking, scrolling. But then, like, with AI and the way things are gone, like, you don't know what you're seeing. You're like, is that real? Is it not? Like, do you know? And yeah, so it can be it can suck you in something serious, like.
But on the good side of that there, I suppose, like, I mean, it's used for businesses.
100%.
And you can't be in business now and try to succeed without it.
No.
Your case in point with Dip and Sip, like, if anybody hasn't been there and hasn't got the coffee, we would highly advise it. But Hayley, you started writing, like, wee notes on the cups.
So positive, like, affirmations, or, like, you know, the goal is to make one person smile a day with them, and you know, hopefully that changes somebody's day and shift their mindset, you know.
But, like, you always see them then. Like, I always see them anyway. Like, I mean, you always see 2 or 3 posted nearly daily. Like,
people love them.
Which is a lovely thing. That shows you then that social media can be used for such a nice pleasant, powerful.
Yeah, and even trying to run a business, you know, like if you advertise something that day, you're guaranteed it's going to be their bestseller, you know, because that's I want that. Now,
Exactly.
you know, you see it.
Yeah. It is a double-edged sword. It's just, I suppose, it comes back to everything. It's like teaching younger people the trappings of it, what can be done with it, what shouldn't be done with it.
Yeah, and like, you know, realizing that people are using, like, say, ChatGPT and all to like alter how their body looks, and it's just really unhealthy, you know, for young girls in particular, you know. So there's a huge increase in that, you know, and people struggling then with their bodies.
Exactly. Like, I mean, body dysmorphia is
huge.
It's huge over the head of it, like, and it has been, and even before ChatGPT. Like, I mean, with Instagram, when Instagram came out first, that was nearly one of the biggest things that was flagged about it was, you know, young girls looking at these and going, how do I end up looking like that? And then look at one person that looks like that. If they actually do look like that, you don't see the work that goes into them getting that body, or how much work they get in Botox, or X, Y, and Z. And like, it's such a standard then for young people when you go, oh, I need to look like this, and they can't do it, and then it leads to such negative talk.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, it is. It's so draining on people. So it is.
It is, yeah.
Okay. So we've covered kind of social media and that there. Okay. So for someone who's curious about therapy but unsure as well they should go, what would you say to them?
I would say that if you've tried it before, or if you're unsure, like, you know, looking for, first of all, a qualified therapist. You know, there's people out there who are advertising who are not fully qualified. So there's two websites, which is the IACP and the BACP, and you'll find registered psychotherapists on it. Because you have went to one or you go to one and you don't suit, like, that's so common. You know what I mean? You might go through 5 different therapists before you find the one that just gels with you, and that's okay. You know, so giving it a go. And again, you don't need to do it if you're in a crisis. And if you are in a crisis, like, there's so many supports out there, and it's definitely a great stepping stone to learning a bit of self-compassion. And
like, just on that, there is so many helplines, and there is so many web pages and stuff like that there. But there is government funded therapy available to people, and I don't think that's really widely known.
No, it's not. Yes, if you go through your GP, there is a chance you could be waiting, you know, a while. But there is services. The one I work in at the minute is in Letterkenny, and they're a low costing service. So like, the most you pay could be €30. If you can't pay, that's okay. You're still seen, like, you're still valued, you know. So I think there is always, and online there's actually one called Turn to Me, and it's a free, you get 6 free sessions, and then you start paying, which is great. Like, it's,
imagine,
you know,
like, as you know, the work that you can do in 6 sessions if you're in crisis.
Yeah.
As we said earlier, you're not going to make any big massive gains if it's just you're trying to pull at threads. But if you're in crisis, if you're in a big crisis and you're going, I need to go and talk to a therapist, sessions is huge. It's a great program.
Yeah, you know, and it's so easy to accessible, like, you know. So, but it isn't. It's not advertised enough. It's not known.
And it wasn't until I was sort of looking about going back to therapy last year. Like, I was going, in-person therapy wasn't suiting me at the time, and I had used a couple of different online platforms before. So I was thinking about going back to them, but I was doing a bit of research on it, and I was like, I've seen this, and I was like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And why is that not known? And why are people not shouting and screaming about it? Like, you know, because we scream about, you know, pay at a house and every other service is available, but and this could really, really, really help.
Yeah, and you'll find somebody that, like, you know, people don't like sitting across. You know, people prefer through the screen, it's
Exactly.
more convenient. Like I've done it, you know,
Yeah.
as well. But you will find, like, if you don't want, you can do walk-in therapy. So some therapists will offer, like, where you go for walks side by side, and that's really nice as well. So there's options for everyone.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Yeah, the walk-in therapy, I've spoke to a couple of people that have done that.
Yeah.
And they love it.
Yeah.
They love it.
Yeah.
And I suppose, look at, if you're an outdoorsy sort of person and you get a nice day in this country, you know, it is like, I mean, you're out in nature, and it's probably easier to open up, as you say, because you're not sitting, you know, across from somebody and feeling,
and it can be hard, like walking up, like I always say, like when I meet somebody for the first time, like the hardest step is walking up them stairs, you know, and coming in and sitting down. Like it takes a lot of courage, you know, to do that. So yeah,
that's great. Okay, what should someone realistically expect when they walk into their first therapy session?
So realistically, when you walk in, you know, you're going to be greeted, you're going to meet your therapist for the first time, you're going to sit down, and you're going to have to go through a contract, which is like great for the therapist and for the client, you know, and just runs through the logistics and how you might work as a therapist, cancellation policies, all that. So I think that takes away like the initial like
anxiety.
Dread, when you come in, you know. So and then I think in the first session it's very much just kind of getting the background, you know, so, and then kind of seeing what your goals are for therapy. You might get into maybe 20 minutes of kind of like what's been happening, but then the work would start kind of after the first session. I think the first session's great for like building like rapport, you know, for settling yourself in for the first time walking into a building, you know. So yeah,
and seeing how you gel with somebody.
Absolutely,
you know?
yeah, like because you're not going to start opening up and telling your story and then you don't work. Like, I do that. I'm like, you have to listen to me.
I'm a dog. Straight away. Hello, nice to meet you.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need that.
Yeah. And that
it works too.
It does. It does. Yeah. Okay.
And one thing as well, I suppose, like when you're outside the therapy room is, you know, we all have like triggers, as you call them, you know, but something that's been working really well with people is looking for glimmers.
Okay.
Rather than, so kind of again, like that reframing. So like, again, it doesn't have to be big. It could be, you might notice the light shining in the window and it's kind of like taking a second to just, yeah, that's nice. Breathe it in, accept it, enjoy that view. It can be a cup of tea, you know, and just that glimmer that day, and just try and hold on to that. And it could be your anchor, you know, to bring you back to just come back down when you're.
It's funny because that mindset and that framing is such hard work for people. Like I found it extremely hard because when you have had so many years or maybe decades, like I had, of real self-negative talk, like I'm talking from, you know, 8, 9 for me, I found it very hard when that was introduced to me, you know, to a daily, just get one thing, and like that with the meditation, I stumbled and I had to go back to it, and you know, and it does work, you know, but it does take so much work,
to get repetitiveness,
it.
like 100%, and it can be exhausting, it can be frustrating, you know, and some days you mightn't have one, and that's okay. Like it's okay to have that as well, you know. So I suppose it's trying to just stick with it, you know. And even I suppose like with Sophia, I'm like, in the evening, like, what 3 things are you grateful for today? And you're like, oh, I just want to go to sleep. But, you know, it can be that wee thing that just, that one wee thing, you know. And
yeah. And look, it is the thing that you need to pull at. To sometimes it is the thing that you need to pull at to pull your day back, maybe.
Yeah.
Or to pull you out of, you know, a cycle of negative talk. But these are all things that come up in therapy.
Yeah.
You know, and they're all things that a good therapist will, you know, you'll find something that works with somebody and you'll know nearly instinctively probably if that'll stick with that person or if they can work with it.
Yeah, and some people are really honest. They're like, I am not doing that. I'm like, that's grand. Like, that's fine, you know. But I suppose it's about coming in, being able, so we have a toolbox here with all these different tools, and it's you being fit to pick what's going to suit your toolbox and what you can draw from when you're out, you know, in the big bad world, you know, you're out there and you might need something from it, and it's just being fit to have it there, something that works for you. And everyone is so different, like, you know, what might work for me.
I love that, the toolbox.
Yeah.
Because we hear so much about the tools we need.
Yeah.
That's gas. I never heard of the toolbox.
It's a toolbox, I have my wee toolbox.
That's
and
nice.
then
That's nice. Yeah. But it is, and I suppose like my goal for having you down today was breaking that barrier for people on therapy. Because I know the first time I went. So I was sent to a therapist after I had a suicide attempt. I was so worried about it. I wasn't worried about talking. I was just like, I didn't know what to expect. I only had ever seen it on the telly.
You're on a couch and somebody's writing about you.
Yeah. So it was The Sopranos. It was Dr. Phil. It was, you know, any TV show, whether it be reality or not. And I was like, I had no clue what I was going in for. But I was in a dark place at that time. It wasn't an option not to. I had to go into it. And I was very lucky in those first 3-4 sessions that I had with that therapist. I didn't stick with her because I just didn't actually feel like we gelled. No more than you said earlier. Like it took me, I think it was 3 therapists before I found somebody that I felt, you know, I opened up with every one of them, but it just didn't feel that connection. But that first one, that first day I went in, and she could sense it. And we went through some documents, and I had to sign a thing to say that I wasn't going to go and do anything silly. I just remember sitting there and going, you know, and I didn't. Like, I felt like I was there as I was placating people, being there. You know, I wasn't there for myself.
Yeah.
And I just remember sitting there going, and she started talking, and she says, you know, she asked why you here, or is there stuff that you need to work through, or what? And then we went into it, like, and I was like, I remember coming out of the place, bawling in the place, bawling, and getting back into, I had the work van at the time. And I remember getting into that van and crying for an hour and not being able to move. And I just had to go home after that. Oh God. And that was like those couple of sessions. But I was so, I was so glad that I had done it. But the first instance, I was just so worried. Yeah. I was so worried about, does this person know me? Do I know her? What's she going to say? What's she going to think of me?
Yeah.
Do I really be honest and open here? And that was the big one for me. I was like, I can go in here now and just say, oh, well, look, you know what, I'm just grand. You know, and then spend 50 minutes ago, I'm grand.
Yeah.
Or I can go in here and, you know, try and be honest and see how it goes.
Yeah, like I think it can definitely take up to 3 sessions to be completely yourself. You know, everyone's guarded. Like that's just a mechanism that most of us have when you meet a stranger, you know, and you're very vulnerable in that room, in that time. But, you know, it's your time, you know, essentially it's your money. So like it's so valuable, you know, so getting the most out of it is going in. Some days, like you said, you might have a plan to go in and talk about something, and you might talk about something completely different, and you're like, that's not what I want to talk about, you know, the hour's gone then.
Exactly.
But when you leave, like, there's days I've left therapy and I feel like I could take on the world, and then there's other days and I'm like, I need to go lie down. I'm exhausted. You know, so both are processing, both is moving it through your body, the energy and all. So
oh, there's definitely days that you leave it and you go, feel that weight lifted.
Oh, I'm great. Like, this is fantastic, you know,
I needed that.
Yeah, and that's such a good feeling.
Yeah, and there is days then that you walk out and you go, I feel a bit heavier.
Yeah.
I need to lay down. You know, that was a heavy session. Like.
And all about listening to your body, all about like going with the emotions afterwards. And, you know, you'll find then maybe during the week things will start like coming together. You're like, oh, you know, this makes sense now, you know. So, and I suppose as a therapist, like we are not judging in the slightest. You're sitting there and like we are given 100% of active listening. Like when you're here and like, you know, you could be sitting with a friend and like you're never given 100% active listening, you know. So it's intense, like, you know, but you're giving them that space. You want them to feel safe, you want them to be fit to open up, you know. So that's the goal, is them to come in, feel comfortable, and to not feel judged, to have that safe space. Like it doesn't leave that room, you know, at all. So like it's.
And I remember signing that contract that day with that therapist. Not my contract for therapy, the contract for.
Yeah, your wellness contract.
I think at the time she called it like a suicide pact or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember signing that and writing down, and I was like, Jesus.
It's the accountability, isn't it?
I was like, I'm looking down through it and going, am I actually having to sign this? Like, you know, and just the whole thing about it was, to me, was no more than you said. Like it's the accountability. It's nothing's leaving that room. So, as you say, you're paying for it. Your therapist can go and sit there. If you don't want to speak,
right.
You know, and that was the big thing for me. It was like, you know, is she going to be constantly writing? Is she going to be taking notes? Is she going to be going, oh, look at the way he leaned over on the side there when he said that? And, you know, this is all just built up. Yeah, you know, and it's not like that. But it is so. It's so important for people to understand that it's a real vital tool. It's a real vital thing for people that not everybody needs therapy.
No.
Everybody can gain something from therapy.
Yeah.
But not everybody needs it. You could be a lifetime trying to convince somebody to go to therapy and ain't no chance, no way in hell.
No.
But everybody can gain something from it. So if people are open to it and people are willing, you know, to accept the work that they need to do themselves, it's such a great thing.
It is. It really is. Yeah.
You know, and I think that's evident in the amount of people that are training and that are qualifying as therapists. You know, like I'm lucky in the circle that I have. You know, you're qualified. My sister's qualified play therapist. There's so many people around me that are kind and, you know, open. Like, it's needed. Yeah. It is needed. And it's going to be needed more in the coming years with everything that's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Absolutely.
It's, and I suppose the more than we said at the start, it's like, it's, to me, and I'm sure to yourself, it's as paramount to your physical health. %. Yeah,
you know, because it's, if your mind's heavy, your body's heavy, and then your motivation's low.
Gone.
You know, it's a knock-on effect.
Absolutely.
You know, and I do think like when you go and, you know, when you're with a therapist, like they will do a bit of psychoeducation on like why you could be feeling this way or what's affecting this, and it's just when you have the knowledge, it's so powerful. You know, and again, you don't need to be in active therapy your whole life. It could be a couple of weeks. It could be off for a few months. You know, so it's.
It's funny that, because that was the one aspect as well that I didn't understand. I was like, if I go into this now, I'm in this for the rest of my days. And you're not. You know, you are as free to come and go as you need, and it is like that. It is that tool to be used when. Yeah,
and I've rang my therapist when I'm in the middle of something is going on, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, I need an appointment. She's like, come see me on Thursday, and then when Thursday comes, I'm like, oh yeah, it's grand now. I'm like, I've went through it, and then we talk about it, and then it's gone. Do you know? So
yeah, it is.
You do learn how to build resilience.
Don't you? Yeah. Okay, so is there anything that we haven't spoke about that you think needs to be spoke about or raised, or?
I suppose just that there is so much support out there, if in any way you're feeling down, if anything's wrong, like go to your GP. If you're in a crisis, go to A&E, go online, talk to one person, just reach out to that one person, so you're never alone, and in the grand schemes of looking for a therapist, like I said, look online, do your research, and then the one shoe doesn't fit all, so keep trying until you find one,
Yeah. I mean, for me, I suppose, like we've covered everything that I kind of wanted to talk to you about. What makes Hayley tick?
What makes me sick?
Not tick. What makes you,
keep going?
Keeps you going, like now, because we didn't share these questions.
Yeah, what makes me keep going?
Yeah.
I suppose, like, as cliche as it sounds, like my friends and my family, like, getting off and going to work and having something to look forward to, having a circle of people, like even at training, like, that's, you go down and it's nothing but slagging, but it's great. Do you know what I mean? Like it's great. Yeah. So, and obviously my wee Sophia, like, so that's what keeps me going.
Yeah. And you need them things, it's the more than I said. For me, it's like the physical exercise is on a par of the mental and therapy work. But you need your friends, you need your family, you need external sources.
Yeah, and like you see, like say you're out walking, like, and even see it, and people are out and they're baiting around. They're not doing it for their physique; they're doing it for their head. You just need to get out, get a bit of fresh air. As hard, like, and it can take a lot of convincing for me some days to go out, and do that walk. But even if you only got 20 minutes, you're guaranteed you'll feel a bit lighter coming back.
Yeah, and it's funny to take it back to, I suppose, how we met. Jiu Jitsu, and like, for anybody that doesn't train Jiu Jitsu, it's very hard to explain it to them. Very, very hard. How rolling around what people call your pajamas and stuff like that there, how it is so good for the head.
Yeah.
The environment, the setup, the physical activity, the community. There's so many aspects involved in Jiu-Jitsu that accumulate and, make it the perfect physical activity.
Yeah. It's like ticking all them boxes, and again, it's not for everyone, but like I remember telling people in college, this is what I do, like this is my self-care, and they're like, you're mad, like, again, trying to explain it to people that don't understand it, and they're like, do you punch and kick? And I'm like, no. But the only way I could describe it to someone is like, you physically can't think of something else.
No.
When you are there, when you're in the moment, and even if you're just getting abused and people are shouting at you like you die, it's like, oh, I can't think of anything else. When you're having fun, you're socializing, and again, you're trying to do something, and you're like, how do I do this?
All right. Okay. I think that's kind of everything, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of information in that there, and I hope people have found it worthwhile. I will put into the show notes your link for your Instagram.
Yep.
And for Dip and Sip, and for your new counselling page, which is
Therapy with Hayley. So
I should have been able to
just sharing little things that help me keep me going, like posting things that are relatable, and
people will be able to contact you,
and they can contact me there, and have an email on appointments.
Excellent. I will also put up into the show notes, links for Pieta House and all those kind of places if people are struggling, especially after an episode like this. There will be people listening that are having issues and mightn't have spoke to anybody, so it'll be in the show notes in there. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you for having me.
No, I want to say thank you because it's not easy to come down here and speak one-to-one about these kind of things. I know it's what you've trained in, it's what you're doing, and you're at ease in that sense. But this is a strange situation. No more than we talked about earlier, the anxiety and all that.
Yeah.
It is a daunting thing to do, and I appreciate you coming down. I appreciate your time, especially on a Good Friday.
I know, yeah. It's not.
I've had conversations with you over the years that, have really helped me, and you've been a great ear, a really valuable friend.
I appreciate it. And you too.
As I said earlier, really super proud of what you've done, and I appreciate you coming down.
Thanks a million, mate.
And we'll talk again.
We will.
Sure. All right, folks, we will see you all again on this camera, not this camera, it doesn't matter. Look, at all will be in the show notes, folks, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. It was Hayley Doherty, our first in-house guest.
Thank you very much. A pleasure.
All right.
Pleasure.
See you all again soon. Okay, guys. So that was the conversation that I had with Hayley, and I can only thank her for her time and her honesty and her openness, around all aspects of what we spoke about. I really enjoyed our talk and found, parts of it, for myself personally, very intriguing. So yeah, it was a special. Guys, if anybody's affected by any of the topics that we spoke about, I'm going to stick up a picture at the end of the podcast with some numbers on it for you to contact. If you can't contact them numbers, contact a friend or a family member. If you are struggling with your mental health, you do need to talk to somebody. Some people find it easier to speak to somebody on the end of the phone that they don't know. If you need, drop me a message on Instagram. I most likely will reply to you fairly sharpishly. But do know that you are not alone. There is people to talk to. There's people that want to talk to you. Look after yourselves. Be kind. And I will see you again for the next episode of the Thickness Podcast.